Live. What is good, everybody? We are back in the Apex this week for a clash in the lightweight division where we have Mataush, the gamer Gamrot, going against Quillen Salkilld. Don't know if he has a nickname off the top of my head, but we'll get to that later. I'm not gonna lie, not the strongest card in terms of name value, obviously. As we scan through this card, but hey, we're MMA fans. I feel like I always say that phrase when it's not a good card. We have no choice. We're held hostage. We got to do what we got to do, and we got to get through it. So I'm ready whenever y'all are. Anything you guys like to add? Feel free.
Slop. That's all.
Yeah, Mike. I like the upgrade to the venue. Nice, nice. All right, let's dive straight into this slop. All right, let's get right into it. Our first fight of the night is in the women's strawweight division where we have debutante Gigi Canuto going up against Carol Fora, who I also think is making her UFC debut, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the case. Two debutantes, both making their debut here in the first fight of the night. Based on what I've seen on both their topologies, this is your classic striker versus grappler matchup. I'll be honest, I haven't watched Gigi Canuto too much. I literally me and Mike were in the call before making this prediction video, and I was like saying I don't know anything about this girl. I'm just looking at her topology picture, and I'm just thinking grappler immediately. And when I scroll down, it says her foundation style, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, trains at 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu. She's got like 5 subs, 1 knockout, 1 decision in all of her wins. So yeah, this is going to be a classic striker versus grappler matchup. I have seen her counterpart here, Carol Foro. I watched her beat up Chanel Dyer, and the UFC signed both of them. The Chanel Dyer side, low key off pity. But yeah, this is going to be a classic striker versus grappler. Whoever's able to impose their will should win the fight. I will say Foro's small. They're both small. They're both like 5'2", but Foro's got like 61.5-inch reach. The other girl actually has the reach advantage, but I'm still going to go Carol Foro here. Let me see what her finishing rate is. She's got 6 TKOs and 9 wins. I think this is a very black and white fight. It's either the other girl's getting top time potential subs, or Foro's just beating the shit out of her on the feet. I think Chanel Dyer's tough. I don't know how tough this girl is. She's 23. Foro's 29. Saying to finish is bold. It is the UFC. I think she's going to be hell-bent on trying to grapple. She could tie her out. I can see a late finish. I am yapping a lot. I'm going to go 4-0 decision, but I low-key want to go TKO. But I'm going to go 4-0 decision.
Yeah, women's MMA fight kicking off the card. I don't know a whole lot about Canuto, I'll be honest, but grappler, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, pretty much everything Tony said. To me, that's kind of a red flag. If you're a grappler, I want to see, like, I don't know, not 10th Planet, I'm going to be honest, because 10th Planet, you know, it's like that goofy sort of jiu-jitsu. You know, you think of like Eddie Bravo talking about the earth is flat and Joe Rogan's dead orchid, man, you know, and shit like that. I've never really had a high opinion of 10th Planet in the jiu-jitsu scene. I just feel like it's kind of goofy. It's a little bit like performative in a way. It's like, oh, look at this cool shit I can do in training. You can't do that in the cage or in a match. Carol Foro, good Muay Thai, good striking, made Chanel Dyer look like a fucking bum. Like, and when that fight happened, I was like, why are you signing Chanel Dyer? She got fucking cooked. And then Chanel Dyer has a TKO in her debut in the UFC. So maybe Chanel Dyer really isn't so that bad. I think Carol Foro is actually probably good. You know, looking at her striking style reminds me a lot of Carly Judice, kind of like that angry Muay Thai, like throw knees. You realize when they're hurt. Like that picture in the topology gives you what you need to know. She's fighting in like 12-ounce gloves, actual kickboxing Muay Thai fight, using clinch knees. I expect that. I expect to use that against a grappler. And the big thing is, like, could a wrestler take her down? I'm sure they could. She's not a wrestler. She's a jiu-jitsu artist that I think trains at a goofy gym that probably doesn't even drill takedowns. She's probably going to fucking dead orchid her way down to the ground or some shit. Who knows? She's going to pull up some shit you've never seen and just not pull it off. I like Carol Foro. I feel like some of these like more vicious women strikers in the women's divisions do pretty good. I've seen good takedown defense from her. I don't know jack shit about Canuto, I'll be honest. I'm going to go Carol Foro and stop yapping. Tony said decision. I like that. I feel like a lot of these like women strikers, though, they get third round TKO. Judice did it a couple times. I think Chanel Dyer did it. I'm going to go Carol Foro, third round TKO.
I'm going to go Carol Foro decision. I think it's just gonna be one of them women's fights where she tries to like piece her up on the feet. She does win on the feet via damage and shit, and the jiu-jitsu person just tries to stall it and try to make it a shitty fight. But it is a women's fight, so I'm not even gonna get full breakdown on it. I'll go 29, 28, 30, 27. Carol 4-0 decision.
Clean sweep for Carol Foro in her debut as we move on to the women's flyweight division, where we have a Ultimate Fighter winner in Juliana Miller going up against Ravina Oliveira. Contrary to popular opinion, you see 4-4 with Juliana Miller, but she's the favorite in this one, and she's a pretty moderate one at that, minus like 300, 400, something like that. Her record is 500. She's not very good, but they're favoring her pretty significantly in this fight. I think something. She won the Ultimate Fighter. I look at her losses though. She went the distance with Carly Judice. I kind of rate that. She did lose that fight, but she did better than I expected. She got first round TKO by Luana Santos. That's not the best look. I'll admit I am a Luana Santos fan, but still, like getting first rounded by her isn't the best look. Veronica, crafty vet. I'm not mad at that. She is small the weight class, but still, like, she's not bad. Ravina Oliveira, though, like, has no, how would I say, like, no intimidation factor whatsoever in her game. She's very feminine. Even in the women's weight class, like, she just doesn't have any pop in her shot, which is crazy because she has 6 TKOs and 7 pro wins. But something I noticed when looking at Ravina Oliveira's record, she's 0-3 in the UFC, and I think it's for a reason. You look at her fucking record, 5 of her 7 wins are opponents with no win. 0-0, 0-1, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. She's not fighting good competition. I think Carly Judice would do unspeakable things to Ravina Oliveira. So for Juliana Miller to go the distance, that solely alone, as well as being an Ultimate Fighter winner, I think is what's going to get her this win. There's just more finishing potential in everything Juliana does, at least specifically in the grappling, I would say. It's crazy that Ravina has 7 knockouts because, like, she could have fooled me. I'm watching her UFC tape. Like, I see no intimidation factor from her whatsoever. She's been subbed before, so I am going to go Juliana Miller by submission. She's been subbed in round 3 by Luciano, who's primarily a striker. She got subbed in round 1. I'm going to meet in the middle. I'm going to go second round sub Juliana Miller, where she just is the more better fighter everywhere. She's just more physical. She pushes at more of a pace. She just goes forward more, takes more shots on the feet, and shoots takedowns and gets to positions where she could force a submission. I'm going to go second round sub for the Ultimate Fighter winner in this one.
Yeah, compared to honestly, compared to the first women's fight, this is fucking terrible. Not to say the first women's fight was like great or anything. They're both making their debut, but like this is like actual slop. Like I know how these two girls turn out, and it's not good. They're both bums. I want to say Juliana Miller has 1 win in the UFC, and Ravina has none. Juliana does, like, her record's 4-4. It's really 6-4 because she had 2 wins in the Ultimate Fighter that aren't counted as real wins. They're exhibition MMA and all that. They're 2 rounds, whatever. Count them or don't count them. But I do think I just saw a fucking glimpse of 10th Planet. But I'm going to be honest. I'll take 10th Planet over Ravina's gym. Her gym is called fucking Life MMA. If you're going to be an MMA fighter, you better train at Death MMA. Like, I don't want to hear about life. Like, you're supposed to be taking it from people. Like, I don't know. It's like, ooh, look at all the sunshines and rainbows and Life MMA. We fight cans and we win. We go to the UFC and we lose. That's the vibe I get. Even if Juliana Miller does train with 10th Planet hippies, she's honestly the more dangerous fighter in this fight, which is saying a lot because she's not dangerous. She's got a grappling ability. I think she's dangerous on the ground, whereas I don't think Ravina is dangerous at all. Like Miller is so bad on the feet, like it probably just takes away. Like that's just her stat lowering. Like she's so bad on the feet. Like she's like damn near throwing like limp wrist hammer fists every punch she throws. Ravina Oliveira, though, like Tony said, just too feminine. Not really built for it. Hasn't fought a woman in like with an okay record. Like I can at least say like, okay, she beat Ivana Petrovic for Miller. She won in the UFC. I don't think Ravena will. Like, I don't see her really like. I'm sure she's the better striker. I don't see her starching Juliana Miller if Carly Judice can't. I think eventually the bigger girl, the more masculine girl, shall we say, better grappler, will get the win. I'm gonna back Tony here on a second round submission. This fight is shit, but I do like that you have a UFC win. Not that that means that much compared to 0 UFC wins.
She got
So
2.
go.
She can get to 500. She wins this
Oh,
week.
Brogan Walker, yeah, the Ultimate Fighter finale. Brogan Walker in the Ultimate Fighter finale, and got a TKO. So yeah, I'm gonna go Miller. Second round submission. Yeah.
Am I really gonna pick this bitch? What are the fucking odds on this?
Juliana Miller minus 300. Ravina's like a big underdog.
You're fucking with me, bro. There's no fucking way.
I
Minus
get it.
300?
Yes.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
seeing minus 310.
It's probably like I probably got like 400 on my book, and I get it. I get it.
I kind
I
of
get it.
weirdly want to pick Ravina now. I kind of want to lean Ravina a little bit, but women's MMA is so fucking ass.
Yeah, minus 300.
Minus 300 on Juliana Miller is fucking crazy.
I guess on paper, because she has more knockouts, I guess you could say Ravina's the more technical striker. But at a UFC level, I think Carly Judice would destroy her. I think I'd pick Ivana Petrovic over her as well. I rate that win is aging well. She's been winning fights. She beat Priscilla Capoeira her last time out. I get it. Ravina, for me, would not win the Ultimate Fighter. I trust the potential of a Juliana Miller submission more than I trust the potential of a Ravina Oliveira knockout, even though Luana Santos first rounded her. That's a bantamweight.
I'm gonna just keep it short. I guess I'll go with Juliana Miller by decision. I ain't really feeling confident about it though.
All right, clean sweep for the Ultimate Fighter winner as we head to the men's featherweight division, where we have Miles El Chapo Johns going up against Gianni Vasquez Kryptonita. Interesting fight here. This was originally going to be Miles Johns versus, don't tell me, Raul Rosas' brother, Jesse Rosas, who just recently withdrew like days before the event. Thankfully, the UFC had Vasquez on ice. Vasquez last time out, he lost to Javid Bashrat by decision. In that span of time, he was able to get a second round knockout over a 25 Uzbekistan fighter, Gamrot or in Combate Global, which was May 9th. Now he's back, taking an opportunity on himself, going up against Miles Johns, who, you know, I know for sure Alex and Mike are not the highest on Miles Johns, but I like El Chapo. I was tricked after he knocked out that Brazilian like a couple years ago that he'd be a good fighter. But I look at his losses and like I think they speak for themselves. Like Daniel Marcos, he's not bad. I thought he won the Gene Matsumoto fight, truthfully. Felipe Lima's not bad. John Castaneda's a name. Mario Batista is very good. Those are all of his career losses. His wins aren't impressive, but I think he's like management of his cardio has gotten better, especially like in the Gene Matsumoto fight. I thought for sure like the third round he would break. I thought he competed very well in that fight. Level of competition, I feel like you have to say recently it's Miles Johns. He is on a 3-fight losing streak. and he hasn't won since 2024 against Douglas Da Silva de Andrade. But I think he was on a full camp. He was. I will say, Gianni Vasquez, I do think is a tougher fight than Jesse Rosas. But even despite that, I am going to go Miles Johns here. A little biased. I like him more than most, but I think he can get takedowns when he needs to. I think he can compete in the striking as well, and he's just recently faced better competition than Gianni Vasquez. So I'm going to go with a Miles Johns decision where he's able to compete in the striking, land the big shots when he needs to, and ultimately get to the takedowns where I think he wants to be. I trust his gym, Fortis. Yeah, I think he has just about every advantage in this fight. I'm going to go Miles Johns by decision, where wrestling is the difference of the fight.
Yeah, a little disappointed that it's not Rosas. Not that I was like super high on him as a prospect, but it's like Raul Rosas' brother. That's something in this midst of shit we call a card. But no, now he's gone. We have Gianni Vasquez, who just seems to be like a fucking like $2 hooker the UFC calls whenever they don't have anybody else to fight. They're like, yeah, you're not getting signed. There's no relationship here, bud. Just come on over tonight. You know, that's the type of shit Gianni Vasquez is on. Loses to Bashrat, they're like, yeah, you're not staying. You can't sleep here. You got to go. You know, and I almost said she leaves, but he leaves. But yeah, now he's back. You know, Dana's got $2 together. He's like, you know what? I got something for you, kid. So now we have Gianni Vasquez back again, probably for another single fight against Miles Johns. I'm going to be honest, Miles Johns is not good. I don't rate him. But the fact that this is even close whatsoever on the betting lines is fucking ridiculous to me. I'm going to bet Miles Johns all day here. Fucking only minus 165. And Gianni Vasquez is a plus 125. I'm expecting Miles Johns to be, like Juliana Miller, like minus 300 or something like that, just because he's been here. And we do know how Miles Johns is. Loses to people that are halfway decent and technical. He can knock out people that are bums, like that Brazilian dude, Anderson Dos Santos, that Tony was talking about. Like Daniel Marcos, got some technique, loses. Felipe Lima, Gene Matsumoto, got some technique, he loses. But against the Unks and the other mids, he does pretty good. Douglas Silva de Andrade, Cody Gibson, Vince Morales, these type of guys, he's able to beat. Does have a loss to Castaneda, which isn't the greatest look. But Castaneda really isn't bad either. Like he's technically sound. Gianni Vasquez, I'm sure he's got some decent boxing. He's Mexican. I remember him being tough in the pocket against Javid Bashrat, although that doesn't really account for a lot. But I will say anytime like a random Mexican shows up on a card, I usually do assume he has some level of hands. So I'll give him that. But Miles Johns' whole thing is the boxing. He's got power. I do think Gianni Vasquez can probably eat it. Despite the power, despite the boxing, Miles Johns is a really boring fighter. So I think Vasquez could have success by pushing the pace. But Miles Johns is honestly a pretty damn good wrestler, and that's what he's been depending on recently. That's how he gets his wins. That's why they're so boring, because if he knocked everybody out, it wouldn't be boring. So I honestly think the wrestling for Miles Johns will be big here. I'm going to go Miles Johns by decision. I might actually bet this just because I don't think that line is correct whatsoever. I think Miles Johns should be a much bigger favorite, even though I think he's kind of shit. But he does beat a certain level of comp. So that being said, Miles Johns, 29-28. Vasquez has a moment in the third where he pushes it back and has like a tough guy moment and tries to like, look, I deserve a contract. Still a $2 hooker, bud. Back on the street by morning. Miles Johns, 29-28.
Give me Miles Johns by decision. I'll just keep it short and sweet.
All right, and the clean sweep streak keeps on rolling as we head to the lightweight division, where we have Manuel Minimito. I think that's his nickname, something like that. 14-1, representing Brazil, going up against Richie Miranda, 13-1, El Machete. I'm really excited for this one, man. I think this should be really card. I was telling Mike and Alex about it. They even thought as high as to put it near the feature fight or the co-main. I think this is a fantastic fight in the lightweight division, truthfully. These are two elite fighters, 14-1, 13-1. Manuel Souza, his only loss is Archie Colgan, which is not aging well off of the Usman Nurmagomedov fight, but nonetheless, at one point was an undefeated fighter. And he's the guy that knocked out Mauricio Rufy. So that tells you the level of power that this guy has and how much of a danger he is on the feet. He's well-rounded. He can grapple. He won his UFC debut against Pelagioki, and his Contender Series fight, the opponent he had, Christian Perez, I rate. I think that was a good fighter, and he's actually fighting the second week of this season of the Contender Series. He's getting his second chance, which I'm optimistic to see. But Souza is a very dangerous fighter. 12 finishes in 14 wins, mainly by knockout. This guy's got power in his hands. If he touches you the right way, you just go night-night. As for his opponent, making his UFC debut, this guy, Richie Miranda, this is the pride of Cub Swanson's Bloodsport gym. This is the former LFA lightweight champion. He's very well-rounded. He can strike. He's been 5 rounds. Got some semblance of grappling, just awareness in general. He can defend a takedown. He can shoot one. He can throw up a sub attempt. He can get out of one. Like, he's just shown good comprehension of grappling. And I'm not going to lie. I like Souza. I bet him in his first fight. I had him, but this line is fucking ridiculous. Richie Miranda's never been finished. 12 of Souza's 14 wins are by finish. I think him being minus 350 implies that he's going to kill Richie Miranda, and I don't see it. I think Richie Miranda is a very good fighter. And for all the reasons I said, I'm going with the upset here. I think this line is ridiculous. I'm going Richie Miranda by decision. I just feel like he can compete in every area of this fight. He has just as many subs as Souza. He has just as many knockouts. He's been 5 rounds, and I like his output. I like his volume. And I watched his most recent fight where he faced some adversity before getting the finish in the second round against Robert Varicchio, who was like on the taller side at lightweight. I just think he's a very good fighter, man. He's on a win streak. His one loss is by split decision, so arguably should be undefeated right now. I just think this is a crazy line. Give me Richie Miranda, El Machete by unanimous decision. Could be a split, but honestly, I think he separates in the later rounds. I think his gas tank is going to push through and persevere. Unless Souza just catches him in the first, I think Miranda's in this fight from start to finish. Give me Richie Miranda by decision.
Good fight. One of the better fights on the card. Honestly, the second best fight on this card outside of the main event. And the co-main event right now is terrible. So why not? Why not have this as the co-main event? LFA champion versus a guy who has wins over good comp, had a brutal win in his debut, has a win over what could be the number one contender if he gets a win against Arman, Mauricio Rufy. This could age very well. For either one of these guys, especially if Rufy were to go on to win. I don't think he does, but if he were to. Rufy is still a good fighter, and the fact that Manuel Souza has a win over him by KO is very impressive. Richie Miranda is a good fighter. I watched him on LFA once or twice. He is good. The thing about Richie Miranda is he's well trained. That is the big thing with Richie Miranda. He doesn't do things at the wrong time. He does have like some technique issues, in my opinion, but he does it at the right time, kind of like Dricus. His punches aren't the most beautiful, but he throws them at the right time. His grappling isn't the best, but he does it at the right time. I think Manuel Sousa's a bigger guy, more buff. He's got a grappling base of his own, very hard to take down, a lot of power in the hands. Manuel Sousa does tend to overextend with some of his bigger shots, like when he's got you back against the cage and he's starting to throw big overhands. And we've seen Richie Miranda, when he's losing and getting outstruck, to kind of just like sit down, put down a hook, and KO the guy. And I think that's more of like I said, well-trained. That's timing. I don't think Richie Miranda has this power that's just crazy. I don't think he has Manuel Sousa's power, but he does have very good timing. His gym is doing really good. Cub Swanson's Bloodline MMA. You got Larian Douglas. There's another guy too that I'm missing. Danny Silva was a part of that too before he got sick. And he was doing good coming off a win against a top prospect. I like Richie Miranda. I like Manuel Souza too. I do think in a 3-rounder, though, it does favor Manuel Souza slightly. I think, if he doesn't get KO'd throwing some big shit, which I honestly don't think he will, because I'm going to just keep bringing up the Dricus fucking comparisons, but like he throws these big shots, but he overextends pretty badly, but he doesn't do it at the wrong time to where he'd get clipped. He usually can come back, get the guard up high, and not get clipped in return, despite having a pretty heavy, sloppy, throw your whole weight into it type of shot. I am going to go with who I think is the better prospect out of these two, Manuel Sousa. I think he can reach a higher peak. Richie Miranda kind of strikes me as like this crafty guy, like I said, does the right thing at the right time, well-rounded, but there's no real physical threat with him. He doesn't have the most power. He's not the best at anything. He's just decent everywhere. And I feel like Manuel Sousa, he's kind of like that too, along with the muscles. He's a bigger, stronger guy. He's got more power. He's younger. He's got wins over better comp. I'm going to go Manuel Sousa here. I think Richie Miranda will be extremely tough, and I can see this going the distance with Richie Miranda mixing it in, maybe getting a round off. But I think Manuel Sousa's tough too, and he's going to prove that he's one of the best unranked fighters in the lightweight division right now. Give me Manuel Sousa. Give me him by 30-27 or 29-28 unanimous decision. A clear decision, but Richie Miranda still gives some problems to him.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of tape on Richie Miranda. He's pretty good, not bad. I think Tony and Alex broke it down pretty good. I'm gonna go with Manuel Sousa still though. I don't think he's gonna finish him. I think he's gonna win off like the damaging shots. Richie Miranda's not bad. I think he'll survive the storm of Manuel Sousa. But I think Manuel's gonna get it done. I think he's. I mean, he doesn't really have too much experience. It's only like one fight more than fucking Richie Miranda. That's not really like a whole lot of experience. But I'll still go with him. I'll go 29-28 decision, maybe a 30-27. I don't know.
All right, our first difference of opinion as we head to the heavyweight division, where we have UFC debutant Jose Montana, 6-1, going up against Louis Sutherland, 11-5, representing Scotland, the Vanilla Gorilla. Louis Sutherland is a favorite in a UFC fight, so I think that that's very interesting. 1-2 in the UFC. He got heel hooked by Walter Walker, as we all know. Also got KO'd in the first round by Brando Pericic. But for what it's worth, those are two pretty good contenders rising up the ranks in the heavyweight division right about now. Got his win against Tai Tuivasa. For what it's worth, I think he got his win better than what's his name, Taliesin Teixeira did over Tai Tuivasa. So I will give the Vanilla Gorilla credit on that. As for his opponent, Jose Montana, this guy's a grappler through and through. Pretty big, 6'4", 76-inch reach, 4 subs out of 6 wins. He just really wants to grapple, get takedowns. I think for Louis Sutherland to be the favorite, my thought process is that like this guy cannot strike. He just wants to be a grappler. He probably just wants to like sub hunt and just get top time. I think it's so long as Sutherland wins this fight. He's only the one time by Walter Walker, who is either on steroids or is like the greatest heavyweight grappler of all time. Either way, both can be true. I think Louis to be a favorite. That's kind of telling. We got plenty of Brazil. I do this all the fucking time. Whenever there is a country that has a surplus of fighters, like a Russia, a United States, a Brazil, I think, yes, they are, combats in there, but there's a lot of shit too, and that you have to sift through that. Point I'm making is I see plenty of Brazilians, not all of them are good. They're fine. Like, they're going to be all right. Not too many Scottish people in MMA. I'm going to go Louis Sutherland here. I'm going to go decision. I just feel like he's going to display good takedown defense. He's shown that he can go 15 minutes in his last fight with Tai Tuivasa. Probably Montana's got a better gas tank than Tuivasa, but I still don't think it matters. I think the calf kick's going to be big for Louis Sutherland in this one. I really do think that's a weapon he could utilize. Try to take away the leverage on those takedowns, really fuck up the legs of Montana. I could also see a late TKO. I'm torn between third round TKO and decision. Tai Tuivasa has been knocked out a lot of times, so maybe he's just, naturally tough. Montana's never been finished before. So I'll risk it. Fuck it. Why not? I'm gonna go third round TKO Louis Sutherland. I think Montana's gonna be hellbent trying to get a takedown early, but Sutherland's gonna do a good job of just moving around, blopping around the cage, throwing his calf kicks, landing investment shots to the body and the head when he can, and eventually it's going to lead to Montana breaking in his UFC debut under panic and pressure in the third round. Could see a decision, but I'll risk it. I'm gonna go third round TKO Louis Sutherland and just a blob fight.
Yeah, I mean, pretty shit. It's like the piece of shit that you know versus the piece of shit that you don't know. Who are you gonna pick? You're gonna take a risk on the piece of shit that you don't know. It might smell less, or you're gonna go with that familiar stench. It's rough. Just because Louis Sutherland, he came in, you're like, oh, look at this dude's traps. Look at his Tapology photo. He's on fucking juice, and he shows up as just like your fat uncle. He's like looking for a fucking Bud Light at the barbecue. Whereas Jose Montana, I don't know really. Like he has submission wins. Most of his finishes are by submission, Montana. But I watched some highlights and it's him striking, and he kind of looks like he goes for it. He really does. His punches are pretty shit. Chin wide up in the air, like throwing like damn near hammer fists, but like low key fighting like a sped. Like he's going crazy. Like he's going at him, throwing hooks on the guard. But like all of his fights, this highlight footage I speak of, it's like some backyard bullshit. It isn't even in like jungle fights or like LFA or anything like that. It's like somebody's backyard fucking fight club, like dead ass. It's like they're in a shopping mall or something like that. Louis Sutherland, I at least, I'm seeing PFL, I'm seeing Cage Warriors, I'm seeing him hold a belt that looks like it wasn't in a backyard. That doesn't look like street beefs to me. I've seen him KO people on the regionals. He's got good low kicks. Broke Walter Walker's leg with a low kick. Decent grappling base as well. I think Montana maybe could submit him, but like, look at his frame. Like, unless you grab his leg and twist it off, this isn't really a guy you can choke, in my opinion. You might be able to get him with like an arm bar or something, but I don't think you can choke him. I'm going to go Louis Sutherland here. Shouldn't be that big of a favorite, in my opinion. He shouldn't be minus 200. Should be like at least minus 150. Montana's a big dude, throws power, caution to win, has grappling ability, but just kind of looks like a bum. And his opponents are bums. And Louis Sutherland's opponents aren't much better, but like he's been able to do this longer and be successful for longer, and honestly come into the UFC as a pretty highly touted prospect before we saw him against Pericic and Walker, and now we kind of know where he stands. Montana, I think, is just buns. I'm going to go Louis Sutherland. I think he'll clip him on the chin and KO him on the feet. I think like there's throwing too much and having bad defense, and then there's just like not bringing your hands to your chin and just making your chin as easy it is to get hit as possible, which was what Montana does. Cool name, though. Louis Sutherland wins TKO.
Another one that I'm not very confident in picking, but I'll go with him mainly because I did see some like tape. Dudes win, like the record of the opponents combined of Montana was like 4-11. Like that's shit to me. Like most of them I saw like didn't have any pro fights until they fought him, or like they're either 0-1 or maybe like an undefeated record or two. I'm not really entirely impressed. I wanted to pick him. I don't like picking Louis Sutherland. I don't like picking any blob, but I think he'll win this. I'll just take Louis Sutherland via like some slime out victory. I think I'll go second round KO. Maybe a first round KO late.
Clean sweep for the Vanilla Gorilla as we head to the light heavyweight division, where we have Kazakhstan's Diyar Nurgaze going up against Brazil's Bruno Lopez. Interesting one here in the light heavyweight division. Both these guys 1-2 in the UFC. Things haven't gone according to plan, but their losses aren't bad. For Bruno Lopez, he's losing to the likes of Navajo Sterling, Dustin Jacoby, as well as who else? Brenson Ribeiro. Wow, that's crazy. Brenson Ribeiro beat both these guys. No, wait. Yeah, no, that is Brenton Barrow. Wow, Brenton Barrow beat both these guys. Yeah, so all of Bruno Lopez's losses are UFC caliber. Whether they're good or like Brenton Barrow obviously is not good, but he is a name in the UFC. Destin Jacoby seems to be on the decline, but still a name in the UFC. As for Dr. Nergizay, his losses are Urban Satsiyabiladev. I think he came from LFA. He lost to Martin Muday in his debut, and then he Ezekiel choked Dr. Nergizay, so that's a problem. Bredson Ibero converted him. So grappling seems to be the problem here for Dr. Nergizay. His striking, particularly his boxing, isn't that bad. Honestly, I think he's got some good movement, good timing. Despite having like a tick or I'm not trying to be rude. It looks like Tourette's, like what Demir's Magulov had. Like he's got like the twitch. But despite that, still is able to have a 11-2 record in MMA. 29 years old, still fairly young for Dr. Nergizay. He's never been shinned. Whereas Bruno Lopez, I want to say like 66% of his losses are by knockout, if not 100%. Yeah, 100% of his losses are by knockout. So you have a guy who only loses by knockout versus a guy who only loses by subs. For me, Bruno Lopez should grapple in this fight if he, studies tape and looks at homework and shit. He does have 5 subs, so in theory, he could be capable of doing this. But the people he's subbing, 17-6, not bad. 10-3, 20-14. That just really doesn't seem to be his game, though. I would recommend him to use that in this fight, but at least what I've seen at the UFC level, he likes to brawl. He likes to get into the pocket, and I feel like that's playing into Dr. Nergizay's game. So I'm going to go with the Kazakhstani here, and being that, Bruno Lopez's most of his losses are by knockout, I think it's a decision or a knockout here for DR. I just want to see what Bruno's record is in decision. In
Tony froze. Rough.
see where most of his knockouts happen. First, second, first. I'll go second, but nah, fuck it. We'll be bold. First round knockout, Dr. Nergizay. I think Bruno Lopez is just going to try to go forward, try to have a brawl like he always does, and he's going to get caught. But he should grapple. He really should grapple. I can see second, but I'm going to go first. I'll be bold. First round knockout.
Yeah, this is honestly one of the harder fights for me to choose because they're both like bums, but it's hard to really like know what to think of them. Dr. Nergizay, like Loki gets fraud checked in his debut against fucking Brenton Ibero. It honestly kind of doesn't get worse than that. And then he lost to another guy, Sadi Baldiev, in the first round. And you're like, yeah, he's cooked. But Sadi Baldiev, I actually believe is a pretty good fighter. I think he's good. In my opinion, Rafael Tobias, I picked him to win. You should have cooked him. The way he looked in that fight, he looked terrible. And you were able to rock him all over the cage, but you couldn't finish Rafael Tobias after pretty much landing what you could at will. Winded up being like a terrible fight just because you couldn't let him finish, and you're letting him like swing tough guy hooks that hit the air and it's like have a moment. I'm looking at Bruno Lopez. He's getting fucked up, but Navajo Sterling is a good fighter. Dustin Jacoby is a good fighter. He lost to Brenton Ibero too. That doesn't work. He got KO'd in the first round against Brenton Ibero. Yeah. He seems like a guy that can get KO'd. I'll give you that. I think Nergizay is a guy that can get subbed. I think Bruno Lopez is honestly a pretty good grappler, but I worry about the chin. Fuck.
That's a tough one.
It is. I hate this one.
Yeah,
I didn't come in here being like, oh, I'm going to just pick this guy. I'm like, I don't know. Because Gaziazilov is trash, but he out-grappled him, and that's a Dagestani.
Yeah.
I do think he can probably out-grapple Nergizay if it gets there. But on the feet, I do think he's less durable than Tobias. Like, I think he'd go to his ass if Nergizay landed those type of shots. It's just a matter of like if he can eat a couple early, decide to grapple and go for it. But I'm not going to trust him to decide to go to grapple. I can't trust the IQ of these guys. I think Nurgaje will hit him and then remind him to wrestle, but it might be too late by then. I'm going to go DR Nurgaje. Fuck it. KO first round. I'm not going to think about it anymore. Both these guys suck. Both these guys are mid, but they got some ability. Nurgaje first round KO.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to go DR Nurgaze first round KO. Bruno Lopez is shit.
I think Tony's frozen again.
Fuck's sake, bro.
I can barely hear you, Mike.
I said fuck sake.
Yeah.
This fight might get me hyped up. I kind of want to go after Tony after this one.
Yeah, you're good. You can do it.
Split.
Fuck.
Oh, and of course this motherfucker. Well, next fight up is Steven Asplund versus what's his face? Huh? Guillermo Pat, yeah.
I'm back. My apologies about that. Let me get the share screen.
Tony, you gotta fix your Wi-Fi, dog.
Yeah, that shit was tweaking. There we go.
Buns.
All right. There we go. And we are back. As you were saying?
I already broke it down. I
cool.
already broke it down for you. Yeah.
Bet.
Steve Asplund versus Guillermo Pat. You know, after his last fight, I think we all became a member of the Asplunder community. I like Steven Asplund. He's fun. But for fuck's sake, can we give my brother a tank top or something, bro? I cannot look at this man fight. Bro, his chest is so fucking... I respect that he wants to be natural. Doesn't want to be underneath the knife. But, bro, he needs one of them women's MMA, like, tank tops and stuff. I hate when this motherfucker is knocking somebody out. Jesus Christ, why the fuck do you gotta zoom it in? Bro was like... I do find it funny when he knocks people out, he just starts rubbing his nipples. That shit is fucking weird but funny at the same time. Bro starts rubbing his nipples after the fight. But yeah, I'm gonna go Steve Asplund. I was really impressed by the Petrino fight. He looked really good. I thought it was a really good fight. I thought it was a good showing out of either or. Guillermo Pat's shit. And yeah, I think it's just here or there. I think the Asplunders will unite on fight night here. I'll go I'm gonna go second or third round TKO for Steven Asplund. I'll go finish. I like his volume for a former fat dude. But my God, can we get this man a fucking women's MMA tank top or something like that, man? Jesus. Man, looks like melted ice cream.
Tony, you can go.
All right. Steven Asplund, Guillermo Pat. Guillermo Pat, just for being 6'6" with 81-inch reach, 2 fights in the UFC, no knockout. Kind of an all cigar, no smoke. I said that wrong. All smoke, no cigar. I think that's you get the idea. He's supposed to be better than what he is, but his output is not good, and his power, at least at a UFC level, just hasn't seemed to separate. Kind of looking a little fraudulent. His last fight against Thomas Peterson, he was a favorite, and he wasn't even like he lost via wrestling. He just lost via output. And now you're going against a guy in Steven Asplund who's like number one quality, like his best attribute is his volume and output at heavyweight. I'm I'm kind of shocked that he's 4 years younger than Guilherme Pat. He looks like he's 10 years older. That's kind of funny. He's 4 years younger. He's got significantly better output. Guilherme Pat just, for me, doesn't really fucking throw. So I'm torn between late finish like Mike's predicting or a decision. As far as knockouts, what has he got? 7 pro wins. He's got 6 TKOs. He doesn't hit the hardest, but his output and volume seems to do him well. I kind of want to say this goes the distance. Kind of. I could see a decision or a late finish, but I'll go. Lost a decision to Petrino. I think Petrino is better than Guilherme Pat. Guilherme Pat's never been knocked out. Because of his lack of volume, I feel like he'll like just kind of run away if he's losing. So I guess I'll go decision. I'll go at least 29-27 Steven Asplund. I think he separates for sure in rounds 2 and 3. I could see a late finish, but I think Guilherme Pat's low-key just going to fight a fight where, like, if he knows he's losing, he's not going to get finished. He's just going to be a bitch and kind of run away. So I will go Steven Asplund unanimous decision, minimum 29-27.
Yeah, I mean, Guilherme Pat coming into the UFC is like this knockout machine, undefeated. And then he meets Alan Fry, was like another contender prospect, and it was a very close, competitive fight. And then you fight Thomas Peterson, which should have been an easy win, especially I want to say he used grappling against Alan Fry to win. Like he mixed in the wrestling. And I want to say Alan Fry kind of looked like the better striker out of the two. But Guilherme Pat's got okay striking. He's got okay wrestling, but he really isn't who he thought he was coming into the UFC. Not anywhere near as the hype behind him that there is when he debuted, or honestly, Steven Asplund. Asplund's got a pretty good community behind him. A lot of fans like him, myself included. He's kind of like a funny, wholesome dude. Fun fighter, too. Tough as nails. Kind of can, and I think we saw this in the Petrino fight, his cardio is good, but his style is like he puts so much out there that he can still gas, especially if you survive all of that. Like Petrino survived and he was able to do his own work. I think Guilherme is pretty much like a worse version of Petrino in every way, worse grappling, worse striking. And if you're able to defend takedowns from Petrino and you're able to strike with Petrino, not to say Petrino is like a god or anything, but he's a lot better than Guilherme Pat. Like that shows like you're able to almost win and almost finish a guy like Petrino at some points. I think you do finish a guy like Pat. I'm going to be honest. I like Asplund's output. I like his boxing. I like his chin. At heavyweight, to eat big heavyweight shots, that's very rare, to be honest. A lot of heavyweights just go down from each other's shots. Asplund ate a lot of Petrino's shots, and I know he was a light heavyweight, but still huge and jacked and powerful. Asplund's just tough as nails. And Guilherme Pat, I don't think is tough. I think he's kind of a bitch. And I think if they, like, push comes to shove, if Asplund gets hurt, I don't think he's going to quit. If Guilherme Pat gets hurt, I think he does. And that just seals the deal for me. I got Asplund by TKO. Honestly, I want to say he dropped and almost finished Petrino in the first. So I'm going to go Asplund first or second round against Guilherme Pat. I could see Guilherme Pat coming in being like, I'm like this jacked Brazilian, and this is just this bag of milk from America. The bag of milk going to get it done. Steven Asplund, TKO, first or second.
Clean sweep as we roll with concrete. Going to the welterweight division, where we have the return of undefeated Ty Miller going up against Billy Ray Goff. Billy Ray Goff, what's there to be said? I picked him in a fight once. I think I was right. I picked him in, which fight was it? It was in, where was it? I think it was the Kinoshita fight. It might have been. But, 1-2 in the UFC, got guillotined by Ramiz Brahimaj, lost to Trey Waters, who's like a very rangy striker at welterweight. A lot of canceled fights. Hasn't really caught momentum outside of his debut with Yusaku Kinoshita, who we now know isn't that good, at least at a UFC level, to retain his job there. Billy Ray Goff swings, man. He just has fun out there. Not very technical, just out there for a good time, not a long time. Just puts on entertaining fights. Could be to his detriment. as he is going up against a sniper in the making, in my opinion, in Ty Miller. 26 years old, 77.5-inch reach, 6'2", good frame for welterweight, rangy with the hands, good boxing, sharp, crisp, 3 TKOs and 7 wins, 4 decisions. I think he wins this fight by either KO or decision. I think it's pretty standard. Billy Ray Goff is fairly tough. He's only been knocked out, what is this, in 13 fights one time. I do think Billy Ray Goff should pose more resistance than Fugget, who Ty Miller fought in his debut. I could see the knockout, but I think I'm actually going to go with a Ty Miller decision where he's just able to effectively showcase through 15 minutes that he can do like what he needs to do. Coast, he can use the straight punches. I could see a knockout here, but Billy Ray Goff only being finished one time in 13 fights isn't bad. I expect somewhat more resistance than Ty Miller's last fight. I'll go Ty Miller by decision. I just think he'll be too tall, too long, too young, too fast for Billy Ray Goff. But I'll go decision. Ty Miller.
Yeah, Billy Ray Goff kind of had his shot. You know, he was kind of the guy that would fraud check some prospects. I remember he beat that big guy, Trey Waters, I think. He was like 6'5", like 80-inch reach, like huge for welterweight. And Goff was able to get in his face and kind of scrap him. Oh, no, he lost that fight. Damn. I do think people think he won that fight. That's probably why I think that. I want to say it was close where, like, Goff was going forward the whole time. But, yeah, you know, Ramiz Brahimov victim, not good. Ty Miller's a bit young, but I do think he will be a really good prospect. From what I've seen, he's very good technically. He's a bigger guy, big reach, much bigger than Billy Goff here. I think he's going to put him away. Billy Ray Goff, you can only be tough for so long, to be honest. You can't just have your style be, oh, I'm tough and I'll get in the pocket. Because a guy like Ty Miller, who's good in the pocket as well, is going to be sharp and more powerful than you and put you out. And I think it's a really good stylistic matchup for Ty Miller. He's got another guy who kind of just walk into like a neat little left hook that you can throw on the inside. Slept Adam Fugit. I mean, like, Adam Fugit is bad, but like that was Michael Morales' debut. And Michael Morales struggled a little bit more than Ty Miller did. And, you know, he's similar age to Morales is right now. Morales is, of course, improved over the years. But had a good debut against a guy who's fought other guys when they make their debuts, and he honestly kind of made Fugit look the easiest out of all of them. So shout out to Ty Miller, good prospect. He looks lanky as fuck in that photo, but yeah, he's just got the style for it. He's big, but he's still good. He doesn't just rely on his size. He uses his size, you know, for like the long guy punches and to catch you when you're coming in. But he isn't super reliant on it. He can fight long. He can fight in the pocket. He can go 3 rounds. He can KO you. I think this is a good fight for a KO. I'm going to say by the end of the first round or the beginning of the second, he'll be putting Billy Ray Goff out. I could see him dropping him a couple times. Billy Ray Goff tries to tough it out, but just keeps getting dropped, and eventually one's bad enough where the ref's just like, okay, this time it's done. Ty Miller, KO. I'll say beginning of the second. Left hook.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ty Miller here. I think he's a pretty good name. I think I think as soon as he gets older, the more he improves, I think he'll end up being a pretty good contender in the making. But for now, we gotta see how he does. I'm gonna go second round, Ty Miller KO, where he catches Billy Ray Goff. I think Billy Ray Goff is just gonna be too tough for his own good, and I think this is where he cannot use his mental toughness to survive a decision here. But yeah, Ty Miller, second round TKO.
Muted, Tony.
Appreciate you. Clean sweep for Ty Thriller Miller as we head to the strawweight division where we have Amanda Lemos, 15-6-1, going up against Alexia Tainara, 14-1. Amanda Lemos, you know, on the older side, I think she's like near 40. What is it? 39, just about 40 years old. Still, you know, dangerous, but not nearly as dangerous as she used to be. But the power is still there. Good technique in her striking. Her grappling, I guess, has improved over the years. Like in her fight against Tatiana Suarez, there was some semblance of takedown defense. Being able to not get finished on the ground by Julia Robertson, I guess, but she did get controlled in that fight. The blueprint to beat Amanda Lemos, I think, is there. You got to mix in grappling. You can't just approach her with a striking base. This is someone who does have a win over the current champion, and that's because the champion used her fight IQ and came up with the idea to strike with Amanda Lemos, and we saw what happened. Now she fights Vinicius Jr. here in Alexia Tainara, who I think has shown a willingness to mix in grappling. No knockout wins is kind of crazy. Yeah, she's just a grappler, a decisionator. It's either 8 subs or 6 decisions. So she's definitely shooting takedowns. That's a good thing going against Amanda Lemos. I'm just surprised that there's no knockouts, so not really too intimidating on the feet. Very black and white fight. This is either Amanda Lemos looks good on the feet, maybe even gets a knockout, or Vinicius Jr. is able to stay on top for like 10 to 15 minutes and be able to coast the third round. If Robertson can't finish you on the ground and Suarez can't, I kind of feel like Tainara can't. So for that reason, I'm going to go Alexia Tainara via decision. I think Vinicius Jr. gets takedowns. I'm going to go Vinicius by decision.
Fucking Vinicius Jr. But yeah, Alexa Tainara seems to be a good grappler. She doesn't really do anything else. She's not gonna fuck around on the feet with what's her name, Lemos, which I kind of value because that was a big reason I picked Lemos to beat Lucindo. Like Lucindo's not dominant enough in her wrestling. She's smaller and she's gonna strike with Lemos for probably some portions of this fight too. I don't think Thainara will run into that same problem just because she really doesn't do anything else other than wrestle. Like, there's a chance maybe she can get like guillotined or something by Lemos. Lemos has got a nasty guillotine, but she's old, and it's been proven that you can kind of out wrestle her to a decision. Robertson did it, Suarez did it, and Jandaroba got a sub. I don't think Thainara is probably on the level as like a Suarez, but like I don't know, maybe she is. I do think she's probably got a more dominant top game than Jillian. Jillian's a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, strawweight moving up, or no, it was the other way around, flyweight moving down. So she's actually pretty big. Never mind. But Thainara seems big too. Just seems to be like a wet blanket on top. Isn't going to really go for subs. Jillian will. Even Suarez will. Thainara will just be there and wet blanket you. Unless you're Molly McCann. In that case, it's easy. But I don't know. I'm thinking boring, fucking terrible fight. I think we're looking at Jailton Almeida fight right here. I think we're looking at 30-27, 5 strikes thrown the entire time. I don't really have to say anything else other than that. I think this fight will be terrible. Lemos could maybe make it interesting, defend some takedowns. She's got an okay grappling ability of her own, but it's mostly like defensive. Like she's got the guillotines to like when she goes to the ground. If she's facing like another girl with no wrestling, I'm sure she could mix it up, but Thainara literally doesn't do anything else. And that's a boring style, but that wins. And we've seen it win over and over and over and over. We have champions in top contenders that are like that. Evloev, Merab, fucking Islam when he wants to be, Hamzat when he wants to be. They can just do that and blob you out for 5 rounds. Thainara, that's her whole game. Jailton Almeida, 30-27.
This motherfucker Tony stole my joke, man. But yeah, I'm gonna go with my boy Vinny Jr. Shout out Real Madrid. I think he's coming out with a vengeance, bro. Just signed a new contract, and yeah, he's about to. Even though he didn't win the World Cup, he's gonna get it done out here. He's gonna fight Walmart Neymar as well. I like Lemos. Nah, let me stop. I like Lemos. I think Lemos. She was good in her time, but now I think she's just getting older and mid. I think it's gonna be a women's MMA signature here. Alexia Thainara by 29-28 decision. She changed up the hairstyle, so so I cannot call her Vinicius Jr. But I'm still gonna collar it, motherfuckers.
Fine, Yan Diomande. As we move on to the next fight, the feature fight of the evening, potentially the retirement fight. But watch him say like, "I want another fight after." Darren, the Damage Elkins, 29-12, going up against Yadier, the Cuban Problem Del Val. Is it still it's still a Cuban Problem. Let's talk about Yadier. His last fight, got manhandled by Jordan Levitt. I just got wet blanketed the whole fight. Got picked up, put down, couldn't do anything about it. That was something. Had the fraudulent fight with Isaac Dolgarian, where now we're under the assessment that Isaac Dolgarian basically took a dive, and he beat Connor Matthews in the first round. His Contender Series win over Antonio Montero is not bad. He was 17-4-1 at the time. At the time, I thought he was a physical presence. Like, his grappling seemed all right. Like, I very much was confident that he was going to beat Jordan Levitt. That was not the case. Now he is a minus 900 favorite potentially in the retirement fight of Darren Elkins. Overvalued, you could definitely say that in terms of experience, in terms of like going the distance. I reckon Darren Elkins is more successful in that scenario. He's got 20 decisions and he's won 14 of them. It's not bad. I think if this fight exits round one, that's huge for Darren Elkins, honestly. I really do feel that, given the odds and the circumstances of the fight. But as of late, got finished in the first round by Julian Erosa. He was getting beat up by TJ Brown, ultimately led to a rear naked choke. Darren's number one ability was like his toughness, his ability to go the distance and things like that. I'm worried for him here. Yadier Duvall needs a performance that's gonna like just pretty much take our minds off the Jordan Levitt fight. So he needs to do something big here. He's got 4 subs, 2 TKOs. Not as many TKOs as I would have liked to seen. Let me see how Darren Elkins loses. 1 submission loss, 5 TKO losses, 6 decision losses. Nate Lamware, good cardio. Ryan Hall, good grappling. Volk. Ricardo Lamas, 30 round ground and pound. Has Yadier been the distance? I don't even know if he's been the distance. Okay, he's 4-1 in decision, so he's gone 15 minutes before. He needs to kind of look good here. This is like, for him to be the feature fight, they're like, I shouldn't be talking this much about a minus 900, but if this fight does leave the first round, I am a little concerned. Darren's not the easy guy to finish, but I think Yadier is going to have absolutely no fucking respect for Darren Elkins. He's just going to walk across the cage and just try to kill him. I'm going to go first round TKO Yadier Duvall just because I really do feel like if this fight does leave the first round, like shit could get very funny. So I think he needs to eliminate the equation immediately. I'm going to go first round TKO Yadier Duvall.
Yeah, Yadier Del Val has taken a hit in the images of pretty much everybody. Thought he was going to be good. Looked good in, the Dolgarian fight until like 2 hours passed. And then you realize that fight was rigged and Dolgarian threw it. And then you're like, okay. I guess he'll probably win his next fight, though. Wrong. Jordan Levitt loses. And then my dumbass picks Jordan Levitt to pick Brito because of that. I was like, oh, he beat a good prospect. And then I'm wrong on that one, too. I think what I'm saying here is Yadier Del Val is not all that. He had some decent fights on the regional scene, beat a bum like Connor Matthews. Not all that. That being said, he is fighting a fucking skeleton walking in the cage. Darren Elkins is pretty much dead. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I think there's a part of Darren Elkins that just genuinely is deceased. Like, probably like the left side of his brain or his frontal lobe or something like that. Like, part of Darren Elkins is just like, he's like the deer you see with like mad cow disease that just like wanders into the road. That's all it knows. It's just wandering until it gets hit by a car or eaten by something else. Like, he's just still doing it because he's like, oh, I don't know. I guess I don't want to be an electrician. I guess I'll keep fighting. Retirement, that's for pussies. So yeah, Darren Elkins, he's probably going to do this till he's 60, to be honest. Welcome to the BKFC career of Darren Elkins after he, retires here. hopefully he does retire, but like genuinely, like it's like he's one of those guys that's like, okay, like if you were to eat like say like a Masvidal flying knee, like a shot like that big of a shot, he'd probably die. Like Ben Askren was at least like in the prime of his career. You know what I mean? Like he was like 30, like young 30s, took a shot when he pretty much wrestled his whole career and never got hit. Darren Elkins has taken so much damage. Like if he got hit with like full extension, like Shevchenko Jessica I head kick, he might die. Genuinely. Thankfully, I don't think Yadi or Dilval has that ability, kind of mid, like I said. But he's young and not Darren Elkins. You know, I might give a better analysis if this was Yadi or Dilval versus somebody else, but it's like, what, do I just talk about his striking? Do I talk about his grappling? Like, he's fighting Darren Elkins. You know, you should be able to beat this guy whatever way you want. So I'm thinking first round KO, Yadi or Dilval on the feet, on the ground. It doesn't really matter. It could be a submission. But I am looking for a finish if you're Yadi or Dilval. And if there's ever a time, it could be for 5 minutes and you get back up. If there's ever a time Darren Elkins gets on you and like starts doing work on the ground, like if he gets up on you and starts dropping elbows on you or has a submission attempt, hang him up. Like, I am never picking you again. Like this is a guy, you cannot let Darren Elkins have a moment. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you send him to the morgue. Maybe give him like a gentleman's TKO where he's all wobbled and you're like, okay, ref, come on. You land a couple shots to the body, one more to the head. He's spinning around. You're like, okay, ref. And then he'll probably do it, you know? But yeah, no, Darren Elkins is cooked. There's just nothing else for me to say. He's so cooked. Honestly, it could be me in there right now. It doesn't even have to necessarily be Yadi or Dilval. If I land on Darren Elkins, he's done. And same for all of you watching at home. Same for Tony, especially for Mike. Like Darren, like I just don't trust him. Like he's got so much CTE. Like I wouldn't want to hit him. That would be the way I'd lose. I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna kill a guy, you know. But yeah, and all jokes considered, Darren Elkins just needs to hang him up. Yadi or Dilval by anything he wants first round.
Yeah, I got Yadier Delval. He's gonna have to change his nickname. He lost to a gay dude in his last fight. We don't claim that. I even said it like Cubans don't fuck with that gay stuff, and you out here getting penetrated 15 minutes in front of God and everybody. I don't even think retiring Darren Elkins is not good. Honestly, if I'm BKFC, I'm throwing Darren Elkins a bag because I feel like Darren Elkins is. Oh Jesus Christ! I'm sorry, Darren, but you look like the type of dude that if fighting wasn't your thing, you'd be on the next Chris Hansen Dateline NBC, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I think this man needs fighting, or we're gonna have another Anthony Smith situation, or we're gonna have another fucking, oh my gosh, bro, another Chris Benoit situation. I know that's WWE fake wrestling and stuff, but bro, Darren Elkins takes so much punches that it should be WWE-esque, but it isn't. Like he oh my gosh. Honestly, I normally don't advise people once you retire, you retire. But I think Darren Elkins needs to fight again. I think I don't know. I think there's like ringing, like he's got that fucking Homelander schizo thing where he's like his ears are ringing, and he's just like, I need to fight. I need to fight. Like I think bro needs to be in BKFC after this. But yeah, I think I've yapped far too long. Give me Yadier Devel first round finish.
Clean sweep as we head to the co-main event of the evening in the lightweight division, where we have Billy Quarantillo, 18-7, going up against Carlos Diego Ferreira, 19-7. Billy Quarantillo, been a minute since he last fought. Feels his last fight was Cub Swanson in 2024. So it's been a while. He must need money. It's been like roughly, year and some change. Before that, he got beat up by Yusuf Salal, got second round rear naked choked. Then he beat Damon Jackson, but then he got kneed by Edson. Beat Alexander Hernandez, though. It's crazy. But what I'm noticing in his last couple fights is there's gaps in years, 2023, 2024. Like, the activity's not there. CLD being the older, not CLD, CDF. CDF being the older guy, he's more active, funny enough. He's fought, he's been more active. Fought Alexander Hernandez in the end of last year. Near the end of last year, September last year. So it's basically a year since he fought. Wow, what is that? Let me back out of that. I'm going to go Diego Ferreira. I just feel like he's, for one, a real lightweight. That's one. Billy Quarantillo is a featherweight. So he's coming up to lightweight. So he didn't want to make the weight cut. He's inactive. He's getting up there. He's always been a hittable guy. He's been knocked out 3 times. He's been sub once. CLD, he's just a real lightweight. He's fighting real guys. He has fought the who's who of the lightweight division for the most part. Hernandez, Grant Dawson, Mateusz Rebecki, MJ, Gamrot, Gillespie, Dariush, Poirier, Pettis. I mean, he's fought a lot of guys. The OG Dagestani, for those who don't know, Rustam Kibalov. He's just seen a lot more shit. I think he trained at Fortis. I like that. He is the older guy, but Quarantillo, I feel like he's taken just as much damage as Ferreira has. And I feel like grappling-wise, that's the separation point between the two in the fight. I think his wrestling and jiu-jitsu are better. And I think that's an area that Billy Quarantillo will not have an answer for. I think Billy has the edge in volume, maybe in output, but he is so hittable. I feel like Diego could take him down. I think he can win all 3 ways. So I'm going to go Diego Ferreira by... kind of want to go sub. I think I'm going to go sub. I'm going to go Carlos Diego Ferreira via 3rd round sub in a fun little firefight.
Terrible co-main event. I'd be okay, I guess, with this being on the main card, but like I could see it as a prelim fight too, especially as we got Richie Miranda, Manuel Souza on the prelims. This is just a lackluster, only in the Apex co-main event. Billy Quarantillo, what are you doing? Like, you're kind of getting slept by all the unks at this point. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, Edson Barboza has his highlight against you as an unk. Cub Swanson has his, big KO moment against you as an unk. I think Diego Ferreira probably will too. Quarantillo was a tough, like, output guy that could take your shots, beat you on the output, and have decent grappling if it got there. But the problem is he just can't take a shot the same way anymore. He's older. He's still, like, got decent output, and I could see him, like, outpointing some fighters or something. But, at this point, like, I still think, despite being old, Carlos Diego Ferreira still, like, got it to some degree. Like, he was never, like, his style was never relying on him being, like, super fast or anything like that. He's just a crafty young. He's got okay boxing. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He can compete everywhere. He can KO guys. He can submit them. And definitely past the peak of his career. But I think Billy Quarantillo is a lot worse than Grant Dawson and Alexander Hernandez, who are his most recent losses. Michael Johnson and Rebecki, who are Ferreira's more recent wins, beat Billy Quarantillo, in my opinion. I think all the guys he's lost to beat Quarantillo, and I think the guys he beat Quarantillo. So I think Quarantillo is just, bad. Like, going all the way back to, I'd have to go to, like, probably 2019 or earlier to find somebody who's as bad as Billy Quarantillo that Carlos Diego Ferreira has fought. He's honestly fought pretty good comp. Alexander Hernandez, Grant Dawson, Rebecki, Michael Johnson, Gamrot, Gregor Gillespie, Benil, Anthony Pettis. Those are all consecutive, too, since 2020. So I'm going to trust Carlos Diego Ferreira here. I think Quarantillo is just honestly more ready to hang up the gloves than Diego Ferreira is, even though Diego's older. Quarantillo's style was relying on him taking a shot, and now he doesn't have a chin. Ferreira's style is not relying on that. Diego Ferreira, fuck it, KO. I think he's got crafty enough to boxing to KO Quarantillo. 2nd round KO Ferreira.
Oh, sorry about that. That was a shit co-main event, so I just decided to be on my phone for a little bit. Yeah, I got Carlos Diego Ferreira. I'm not really. I ain't got really much to say. Billy Corntillo's mid. Uh, I haven't seen him since he got slept by fucking Cub. It's been a minute for him. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Diego Ferreira. He's more active. I know he got knocked out too, but it's been more than like 2 or 3 years since I've seen Corntillo fight. But yeah, give me Diego Ferreira first round finish. Maybe second round.
And we now head to the main event of the evening in the lightweight division, where we have Poland's Mateusz the Gamer Gamrot, 26-4, going up against Quillen Salkilld, 12-1, representing Australia. Really interesting fight here in the lightweight division. For those who know, this year, the lightweight division has been a tough one to predict in its entirety in terms of the amount of lightweight fights we've had this year. I think it's been the most upset-prone division in the UFC this year. A lot of big upsets have occurred in the lightweight division. Justin Gaethje over Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett over BSD. Justin Gaethje over Ilia Topuria. Charles Oliveira over Mateusz Gamrot. There've been so many. That was actually last year. But the point is that Rufi over Fiziev. There's been so many upsets in the lightweight division. Bobby Green's win streak this year, like all of them have been upsets outside of the Terrence McKinney fight. The point I'm making is that this is a tough division, and those who know that when the new wave of lightweights try to challenge the old guard, it just has not been successful. We've had these young guns try to, go up the ranks and get humbled. Armin is kind of a weird situation because when he fought Gamrot, they were both like part of the new wave. So I don't consider that like an unk, like not even like an unk check, but like a veteran checking the young guy. I don't really consider that. An example of that I would say would be like Fiziev Gaethje, Gamrot Badariush, Gamrot Charles, shit like that. Root BSD Poirier, that's another good example. I think those those young guys challenge the old top 5 and just like top 10, and it just doesn't work out. Gamrot is primarily a grappler. His striking's improving, but it's nothing crazy. He's only knocked out like Scott Holtzman in the UFC. He doesn't really have power in his hands. He's primarily just a grappler. Got great cardio, been 5 rounds, was a former 2 division weight champion in KSW. The conditioning speaks for itself. He trains an American top team. He's coming off of a good finish over Esteban Rivovic. But I look at his finishes in the UFC, and I can't help but notice it's like Jeremy Stevens, Scott Holtzman, Esteban Rivovic, and like Diego Ferreira via injury and Rafael Fiziev via injury. I like Gamrot more than most. I really do. But I've been wrong about him his last 2 fights. I picked against him with Ribovic, and I picked him against Oliveira. So take my opinion on him with a grain of salt. As for his opponent, Quillen Salkilld, I could definitely see the experience edge being a favor of Gamrot. But Salkilld has shown me promise in his game. He's one of these new guys who's well-rounded, can do a little bit of everything. Good frame for the division, 6 foot, 75-inch reach. He can grapple, he can strike. He's got good output, good cardio. And contrary to public opinion, he's actually gone 5 rounds in the regional scene. Now, obviously, the guy he fought wasn't Gamrot level, but I do like that he's gone 5 rounds. I've been yapping a lot about this, but that's how intricate of a fight this is. At the end of the day, I kind of do think Gamrot is just a grappler. He is going to rely on his gas tank to push this fight into rounds 3, 4, and 5. But I think Quillen Salkilld can take elements of all of Gamrot's losses. Let's look at all of Gamrot's losses real quick. It's Charles Oliveira. It's Manil Dariush, Guram Kuchiteledze, and Dan Hooker. He's got a frame and a reach like Dan Hooker. I think he's proven that he can get a head kick KO. So I think he can like establish a kicking game like Garam Kuchiteledze did. He can use his reach. He can use his kicks. Benil Dariush was able to catch him with like an overhand at a southpaw. I'm not too familiar if Quillen switches stance, but you could just throw out the overhand. And Charles subbed him. I'm not saying Quillen's going to sub Gamrot, but it's not like he couldn't. Like he has that in his arsenal. I think the odds makers, to know Gamrot, to know that he's got the experience, to know he's gone 5, and to still make Quillen a favorite is saying something. I'm going to pick Quillen Salkilld here. And I'm actually going to pick him by decision, which is crazy to say because you would think in a scenario where the fight went all 25 minutes, Gamrot got his takedowns, Gamrot got his total strikes, sub attempts, everything he needed to do. The thing for me is that, yes, Gamrot pushes the pace, but I think Quillen's frame is going to help him in defending the takedowns. I trust his grappling awareness. I like his gas tank. And between the two of them, who do you think is going to hit harder or going to land better on the feet? I'd say it's Quillen. He's proven he can knock you out with his hands. He's proven he can knock you out with his feet. I think Quillen's just the more well-rounded guy here. He can compete in the grappling, but I think he's going to separate in the striking. Could he be the first man to TKO Gamrot? Maybe, but I am going to pick him to prove that he can go 25 minutes against a top-tier contender. I'm going to go Quillen Salkilld by decision.
Tough fight. Like Tony said, a lot of the young guys coming up fighting some of the more established names, they usually lose. But I'm actually willing to take a risk on here for Quillen, just because he's a little bit better than I think those guys. Like Ribovic's a good example because he fought Gamrot as well. We've seen we've seen Ribovics lose in the UFC before. We've seen him look mid. I want to say he lost his debut to somebody. I forgot the guy, Loic Radzhabov, and lost to Nasrat as well. Like there was moments where Ribovics didn't look good. And looking back on it, that Zellhuber fight shouldn't have been that close. If Michael Johnson ain't making it that close, or Bobby Green, you're supposedly on their level or better. Quillen can wrestle, which I think is good in this fight because Gamrot will have to work for some of his takedowns. It won't just be so cut and dry because Gamrot's never really been a top control guy. He's more of like a repetition. Let me take you down a couple times and wear you out. The question mark for me when it comes to Salkilld and what I worry about is his cardio because Gamrot is a guy that will make you tired and he won't get tired himself. He's ready for 5 rounds. Is Quillen. And this is 5 rounds, probably the first time Quillen's been 5 rounds ever in his life. I don't know if he's done it on the regional scene, but certainly in the UFC. And usually he's getting finishes. He's out of there before the 3rd round. He's been to the 3rd round a couple times as well. I want to say his Contender Series fight was 3rd round, like 3-round decision. Yeah, Gage Young. But honestly, good names on his resume at this point. KO'd guys like fucking Nasrat Haqparast that like Ribovics lost to. So I think like he's a lot better than like Ribovics. Duncan we've seen have mid moments as well. We've honestly haven't seen Quillen Salkilld have a moment of adversity, let alone like anything else. Gamrot's good. Salkild's also good, but I think Salkild's can reach higher heights than Gamrot did. He can at least become like the next Gamrot, like the 7-8 guy that bounces around but never really leaves. Well-rounded. And I think like you take like him having decent grappling ability with the fact that he's dangerous on the feet, that's a problem for Gamrot. We saw a guy as bummy as Dan Hooker defend takedowns. And we know he's a bad wrestler, but he was able to defend takedowns and get up from them well enough that he could make the striking work on the feet. I think Salkilld could do that, except with much better wrestling than Dan Hooker. Maybe slightly worse striking, I get it, but he is still a knockout machine. He's dangerous. He's improving. He's young. I like Quillen Salkilld in this spot. I feel like, this is a big moment for him. He's probably training hard. I do feel like, he's drinking his own Kool-Aid a little bit. I've seen him in a lot of, interviews with like MMA people, whether it's MMA media or like MMA YouTubers or just fucking people that show up one day and are now in your algorithm. But yeah, he's just around a lot. I see a lot of Quill and Salkilld doing this, doing that, taking interviews from this guy. You know, maybe he does lose and gets fraud checked and his cardio's not that. But if his cardio's here, I think this is a great matchup for him. I'm going to go Quill and Salkilld. Gamrot's tough, but has he ever been TKO'd? I don't think Gamrot's ever been TKO'd in the UFC.
Only been subbed by Charles. Only time he's been finished. And Quillen has gone 5 rounds right here against Brad Pastore. This was for a championship.
All right. You know what? I'm going to go Quillen 48-47, winning a unanimous decision across the cards. Tough fight. Gamrot, unks his way to making it close, but a little favoritism, towards Salkilld. Better striking on the feet. UFC probably wants him to succeed more. Salkilld 48-47. Maybe a split, but I'll say UD.
Yeah, at first I was gonna pick Gamrot, mainly because I don't like that Quinlan Salkilld is hanging out with a certain type of name, Jaden Cable. I just don't like the whole, like, he's hanging out with the corny. Like, I don't care if he's hanging out with MMA media people. Obviously, he's a grown ass man. You hang out with whoever you want to hang out with, man. But once you start hanging out with the Jaden Cables, the fucking full violence crew. Oh my gosh, TikTok edits, this and that. He owns a bakery, y'all. Like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, honestly, I hate Tony can vouch. I hate Gamrot. And I told him, like, bro, low key, bro, I like Quinlan, but he's making me want to root for Gamrot low key. Cause like, I ain't trying to see all that shit, bro. It's gay, man. Like, I hate it. Man, Quinlan, please go back to your old ways, bro. Go back to your old ways where you're just eating fucking cupcakes or some shit and just knocking people out, leaving yourself alone. But nah, all jokes aside, like, I think Quinlan's good, man. I wanted to pick Gamrot, I really did, but I rewatched the Dan Hooker fight, and I remember, like, after that Dan Hooker fight, Gamrot really made me believe Dan Hooker improved his grappling, and he did not improve anything in his fucking grappling. It was quite annoying. Benoit Saint Denis trash ass fucking got him down at ease. I don't think he's gonna finish Gamrot. I think it's gonna end like, I think it's gonna end in like boring positions in the early remainder of the fight, and then once it starts hitting the second, third, or I'll late second, maybe third, fourth, and fifth, Quinlan just starts dropping him or hurting him, like getting good optics on damage. I'm gonna go Quinlan Salkilld via 49-46, maybe a 48-47 decision where he's just winning off damage. Quinlan is very crafty. He is really good when it comes to like going against grapplers. And I think this will show and see like how legit he is. Can he beat an Unk in Gamrot? I think he could finish Gamrot. Gamrot has been dropped before. I remember he got dropped by an Unk Dos Anjos. I didn't like that. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'll go, like I said, 49-46, 48-47, Quinlan Salkilld. And Unk is finally out of the lightweight division. Hopefully we can get rid of the rest. And yeah, I'm hyped up. All jokes aside, besides all the corny shit, I do like Quinlan. So I hope he does do well. Just needs to get rid of the corny motherfuckers.
All right, there you have it. Those are our picks for Gamrot and Salkilld Fight Night. We appreciate you guys for watching the video. Make sure to go like and subscribe. And yeah, we got some slop, but we're ready to sift through it. So let's go have ourselves a good card. Peace.